Oh, welcome back to Instinct Radio. This is the Dainhen Butler Show. During the break, I was put on the cross. My co-hosts think that I always am talking about black stuff. You know what? Somebody told me that my sister, she don't listen to my show because she was like, everything's so black with him. But you know what? Sometimes I bring certain things up because that's how I feel. Like I don't know how to not be black. I woke up like this. So you know, and once I have clarification on something, I can move forward from that. So like I say, I'm not at my end stage. I'm in the learning process. If you're not if you don't hunger for knowledge, then how do you get the answers? How do you get to a place where you're at peace if you don't go through that storm? So this show is about, love and Valentine's Day. I was thinking about what was the origin of Valentine's Day because we'll celebrate some pagan holidays.
I know. You're not even Christian, but you're going to go there.
What happened?
Pagan thing. I mean, it's just that.
I think it's okay, man, that days have been set aside, man, to honor certain things. Like, do you honor Mother's Day?
You know what? If my mama called me right now and she tell me she needs something, guess what? I take the mic off, I go see what's happening. I don't need no date.
No, I'm just saying, do you buy anything for your mother for Mother's Day?
I borrow my mama. Look.
No, what I'm saying, I think Valentine's Day was, I think that's unique, man, because some people, work through so much through the weeks, but it's to give them time. You know what? Let me go do something special for my wife. Let me go do something special for let me go do something special for my girlfriend. It's okay. It's no different from somebody say, "Omar, happy birthday, man." Don't ever tell me happy birthday again if you don't leave a holiday. So.
Is that your birthday is a holiday? I'm sorry.
For me it is. For me
Okay. I should have looking for the guest. I'm not going to say that.
So coming from a single person, when I'm looking for a mate, what are qualities that I should be looking for? Because I really do want to get married soon. I have been married and divorced, and I just can't seem to find someone who I feel I'm compatible with, like, on every level. Like, maybe I'm physically, but not mentally, or intellectually and not physically. Or something's always missing. So do you think I should just compromise, and as long as like 50% of my needs are made, go for it, or what?
Well, I think that when we fall in love, first of all, we have to know what we want. So you have to first define what it is that you want, and then prioritize those things. What's the most important? And then when we meet the person, we still can be open to it, because what is in our destiny may not show in the initial contact. So we can be flexible, but you should have a certain list of what you're looking for and know who you are, and then know what you're looking for, and also what you bring to the table, because oftentimes we attract what we are. And so if there's a person you want with a certain income, a certain fitness level, whatever that is, then you should also reflect that.
Okay. Isn't that I mean, just going off the list of what you said sometimes, isn't that the reason why so many of them probably fail? Because we're not even, sometimes even looking for the genuine love of a person. We're looking at the physical build. Or, I ain't dealing with no guy unless he making $50,000. See, to me, you're already going to.
But don't you do that, though? Is there a woman, when I come home to a woman, there's certain elements that she should have?
I mean,
if we talking about being faithful.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, I've learned. See, one thing about men just have to be real about conversation. You see what I'm saying? One thing I've learned is I've seen men with girls who look like wine bottles, but for them, they were just trophies. You see what I'm saying? It's good to walk in a place and know my girl, she making husbands want to cheat. But really, at the end of the day, they still out there doing everything under the sun. You see what I'm saying? And I know for a fact that them girls are just really trophies to them. You see what I'm saying? So when we make these lists out, I mean, what are we actually? The question I'm saying, what are we looking for? Like to save $50,000 or?
Well, some people are looking for $50,000, and if you know that's what makes you happy, then don't look for anything less than that. But at the same time, what are you bringing to the table to attract that $50,000? It's okay to meet somebody, look for somebody with $50,000. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to give to charities? Are you going to work together? What is it that he and I can do together with that $50,000? And is he willing to do the same thing? And compromise is what we have to understand that we have to do in a relationship. So when we start to look, we have to first of all think about who we are and what we need. And then it's okay to make the list out. out, but be flexible with that list too.
The times that we are
That's
living
what I was
in right now, it looks like most of the sisters are doing really well. It's almost like
Not all of
this. Well, I said most.
Some of them.
Some of them. It looks like it's switched. Before, it was men that did well and women got
Yeah.
married and that was their security.
That was their
Yeah,
status.
but yes, but
Right.
now things have changed. We have a lot of sisters that you have a house, you have a car, you have
Right.
some money in the bank. You have, we have most of us are going into businesses now. You're building a business, but then it looks like on the male side, we have more men now that are okay with getting married to a woman and being kept. It's a new
Yeah.
trend. But then with the homosexual thing on the market, according to statistics, for every 15 black women, there's only 6 men.
Please address that. How do you do that?
So,
How do you do that?
so these are realistic statistics. We are no longer
Holy water up in
living. We are no longer living in a day when men outnumbered women. We are living in a day when women outnumber men. Most of our men are down low. Most of our men
You
would
keep
rather.
saying most men are down low.
Well, the big percentage.
Well, this is in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, yeah, the
it's a
big
lot of-
percentage.
I
The
feel like
big
you gotta
percentage.
get outside of Atlanta to
Exactly.
find a good man.
Exactly.
You gotta.
You're
I
just
heard somebody say it was
America.
like, it's no good
Yeah,
in Atlanta.
just
Right.
America.
I'm not gonna
But
say
that's
no, but
because,
your chances are better if you
like
go.
a bigger
somewhere else.
percentage. Okay, for us black women, a bigger percentage is homosexual, and then the other percentage is in prison. So we have a
So it's
small.
just me and Omar out here.
So the percentage that's out, let's just say the 15% that's out, all these women, it's like you have 15 women, sometimes to 2 guys, and maybe 6 guys. So all these 15 women want to get married. But here's the problem. Out of that 15%, only a small portion of them have jobs. Only a small portion of them are responsible enough. Only a small portion of them have even the semblance of understanding what it means to be a man and to be responsible and to take care of your family. So what's happening now is that you have all these sisters that are ending up with these men that when you look at them, you can't even believe they're together. Like,
Oh,
what
I get that a
happened?
lot.
And this is a real story. It's
Yeah.
happening out there because it's real. Because they want a man and they want to be in a relationship. So they're ending up with these men that are abusing them. In other words, they're taking them for everything they have. You take care of him, you buy him clothes, you buy him cars, you feed him, and then when he divorces you, you give him half your wealth. So talk to
Sound
that.
like what's been going on with men for the last.
Well, I did go back and you, like I said, you probably tested in your teaching, is that men have been dealt a bad blow and are raising up, man.
Especially here in
I think I'm gonna, I
America.
guess, answer quick because this is what we do.
Yeah.
Like,
We answered our own question.
No, I want him to respond to expound on that, man. 'cause
Exactly, because this is a real issue.
But I think that is a real problem. There was a time where I thought that it was something that was artificially generated. But over
the
the
white
years,
man.
that we used
Don't feed into it. Don't feed into it.
that we've seen, but over the years we've seen that it is an actual real situation, and especially when you start talking about, you see these women who were fairly successful, and the type of men that they were engaged in relationship with is like, wow, not hating on nobody or
No.
anything like
No,
that,
but it's true.
sister,
Yeah.
you're not really compatible. You're coming from 2 different worlds. But I think a part of the responsibility comes back to us as the men, the leaders in our family, those men with sons as well as nephews, the whole 9, that we are training our young men to want a little bit more in life, so that they aren't not that person who society perceives as a leech, by someone who's going to be, pursuing something, a little bit greater than they should. Not saying that we shouldn't see greatness, but or I think I'll stick with not being a leech. I'll just
Well,
leave
what
it at that.
about me, who the days of raising a man I'm going to find are over?
Yeah.
What about the men that are grown now?
Because that's where we are.
Yeah.
This is where we are.
Yeah,
And
right.
I think one thing is very important, just like you were saying, you have visions for what, even starting the radio show. You have a vision for what you want your life to be like. You have a vision for the person in your life. Then if there is 1 man to 6 women, why can't you be that one? When you walk in the room, you be that woman that stands out.
One of the reasons why, because you can take a subpar, normal guy like myself, who when
Why you gonna call yourself
hey,
subpar?
look, I'm just look. And then when you if
Put
I
this
have
up on the
one
market.
partner, if I have one partner, then it's cool. I'm faithful to this person. But then when you put that person beside 15 other women, it's like, I feel like
Feel what?
and I'm saying this is hypothetical. What I'm saying is that
Telling your wife, right?
a man is only faithful as his options. A lot of people don't cheat because ain't nobody trying to creep with you.
Yeah.
It's that simple. But then when you're in a situation where it is 15-1 or 15-6, now it's like you got
where we are
options.
right
It's like,
now,
oh
yeah.
man, what's next door? What is the grass green on the other side?
And
So
women
then-
are putting up with some things that they would never have put up with before, like cheating and stuff like
Everything.
that. They just look on the other side
But if
because
you're
they
looking for
know
love-
if I do something about this, he's going to leave. And once he leaves, it's going to take me another 18 years to find someone.
you
We
can
have
look.
a listener that says a relationship is about a shared purpose.
Okay.
True.
See, we are redefining everything.
But in the dating process, you got to find that. So if you can't even get to that point because they're already like, oh,
No,
well,
please
there's.
don't point at me.
Oh.
People are listening. When I speak on the show, it's hypothetically.
okay,
For my
okay.
listeners.
Okay.
We can all be on the same page.
Well-
No personal endeavors taking place. Just for the listeners.
Okay. Well, if he's going in already comparing me to the 15 other or 14 other females in the room that you're supposedly saying that is there, how can you even start to build on anything? Because the question is, what are you looking for? There obviously it's going to first be physically, and then it's going to probably be what?
Mental?
Financial. No, I doubt. Before you get to mental, there's a lot of other things that take place before you even get
For
to
some
have
people,
that
for
deep
some people.
conversation.
For some people.
It's
True,
said that
for some
most
people.
men have a need of affirmation. And if you can make your man feel like he's a king, he's going to be attracted to you. Because even though that person over there may look good and she may be fine and all that, she may not make him feel like he's on top of the world. So you have to think about what you're depositing into his life that pulls him to you instead of all the other women. And be sincere about what you're saying to him.
And I think, we're kind of shortchanging men a little bit because, I mean, when we're saying that a man really is totally visual, I don't believe that that's the case. In a lot of cases it is, but I think, the type of man that hopefully you would want to attract anyway would not be the one that just sees you as a physical object, but I do believe that it is something that's important, but I do believe that, we should give men a little bit more credit than just being, viewers of the flesh. Yeah, right.
Are y'all having any seminars anytime in the near future where you're, because one thing that I said I wanted to work on was how to start empowering men, because I think in the real world and being serious, I had to have this conversation with my mom last year about being a man and what I was missing. You know what I'm saying? Because I realized I've hurt people in the process of really not knowing, and I know a little more now because I'm older. But I still deal with these thorns in my side that was given to me when I was young, you know what I'm saying, which I think a lot of men are dealing with now. Are y'all doing any seminars or anything that's, because like I said, to me, it still goes back because I didn't have a male figure in my life to say, listen, Omar, listen, this is where you have to love a woman. That didn't do with sexual. But everything I was taught was sexual, you see, from 5 years old. Are y'all doing any seminars, anything
The
coming up
next
soon?
thing that we have on the calendar is the retreat for couples. And in that retreat, we break out and have where the men talk and the women talk also. And our program is called DNAO, Divorce is Not an Option, but it includes things regarding relationships. And it looks at the male and it looks at the female. And it looks at everything that you were probably taught, because most of us, from the time we're 0 to 6, that defines who we are in life. The things that we learned from our fathers and our mothers from that time period, we carry them into adulthood. And we have to learn how to keep the things that were good, but discard those things that we were taught that are no good. And then, so we have that coming up in May. We don't have the date right now, but it will be posted on our website. The other thing is that my husband from time to time does a group with men where he deals with every man's battle, and he talks to men about the whole sex part, you know, and how men look at sex and how they look at pornography and all of that, and ultimately get to intimacy.
And maybe that's another thing that we probably need to address because we're talking about love, because people don't realize porn right now is probably destroying a lot of marriages.
Yeah.
Because
Porn?
yeah.
Really? It does?
Yes.
It's more relevant than what people think it is.
But you know,
I look at porn.
well, nothing's wrong with porn. To me, I never. How does porn destroy a marriage?
You look at porn too?
So if you're in a relationship,
I thought we were getting personal.
He made it personal.
Oh man, she reaching her bad mom. Holy oil. She about to.
you know, the reality though is when
And you threw the bag, I took it.
No, he did.
You don't look at porn? You don't look at porn?
No,
Well,
it's
I
when
mean,
you, no, I don't. It's when you say,
Not player. No, I don't.
Because
yeah, it's when you say, can it really destroy? So I thought you were saying, I look at it too, can it destroy my life?
Relationship between the couple?
it definitely
Within the couple?
affects.
One at a time.
It definitely affects the relationship between the couple, because first of all, when you're looking at porn, you're looking at something that was put together, and then you have these expectations of your mate and yourself that are not realistic. And then the second thing is that when you look at those things and then you go to make love to your mate, the vision of what you saw is what you're making love to, not your mate. And this is supposed to be a time
what about
that
like movies? They give you what life
Soft
should
porn,
look
soft
like.
porn.
No, I'm not even talking about porn. I'm just saying it's almost the same. They tell you what life should be, but you live it every day and know it's not. So why can't you just look at porn as entertainment as you look at a movie as entertainment?
Or a song.
Or music, anything.
But you know, the reality though is the movies and entertainment is a little bit different than pornography, because pornography is a spirit, and we know just like anyone and any spirit, anyone that you've ever laid down with in your life, you have taken on the spirit of that person, because at some point in time in your life, you will recollect that experience. That spirit stays with you, just like these movies, right? You know, men, it's a real struggle for men, because, and a lot of men won't admit it, they see a fine woman with a big butt, whatever the case may be, or she looks beautiful or whatever, that man is taking pictures. Right. Yeah, you know, and it's something that I don't know if it's just innate to men, but men and take those pictures and they play it back in their minds, right?
I think undercover women probably do it too. to
Yeah,
some degree.
right. I'm sure that they probably do.
Yeah, in
right?
porn. Yeah.
You're right. So you know, it's one of those things that
I'm trying really hard over here.
I'm sorry.
But it's something serious though. It's something
Right.
serious.
I know porn too.
so you know when you start in
I got your
incorporating
laugh at that.
when you start incorporating that, you know, into it could become a distraction, because a lot of times, especially when you start having issues with your mate or with the availability of porn, men are not likely to try to resolve the issues, you know, and to get their sexual needs met. They will not even try to diffuse situations. They will, you know, defer to the porn, take things in their own hands, and keep it moving. So there is no desire to make changes in the relationship.
And then you
What
have an
about
expectation of your
watching
wife,
porn
right, to
together?
do what she does.
Do
Right.
what they saw.
Oh,
Yeah, okay. Because one of your partner, there's certain things that your partner may not do. Like, no, I'm not
What
doing
if
that.
their ex-porn star, the male or the woman?
In the couple.
Oh no, that's just too.
Guess they experienced then. Guess they experienced.
Well, maybe they could.
Maybe we should have a show on porn.
I meditate like that. She
Okay.
porn to prove
We'll
Okay, I'm
talk about
sorry.
this.
distracted.
You want to speak on
I'm just saying that once you enter into a relationship, you know, even an ex-porn star can change the way they think about the person, and they still may have some tricks of the trade that they enjoy, that skills that they can bring to the relationship and have it just between the two of them. So I don't think that relationship is any different from any other relationship unless they're still doing that.
Right.
Okay. One thing, not only porn, I think can destroy a relationship, but I think when you get a lot of single women who go to Starship and they get these toys, it can desensitize them in a way, and then the performance of a man can definitely be totally off.
Why you pointing at me?
And the reason why I say that from experience of being in prison, I watched, you know, when I was coming through the system, and we was getting all the pornography books, like it was driving us crazy. You see what I'm saying? Because now every woman, even women you wouldn't even attract to, became an object. You see what I'm saying? And I don't care how men can't deny. 9 out of 10 men, you know, and I tell women this all the time, 9 out of 10 men you meet, when they first see, their mind is, they're trying to figure out how they gonna get to that house.
Right.
Honestly, you know, it takes a real honest man to sit there and say, when I meet a woman, I'm trying to figure out, hey, can we go tonight? It ain't many men that's gonna turn down a woman if she's like, let's go to my house now.
It depends on the situation. I think like 8 times out of 10, depending on where that individual is and his spirituality and his financial. Because sometimes I go into a room and I think about who got the money and how can I network with them and how can we move forward.
I mean, but when you talk about relationship, I'm saying, because it's probably not being exposed that much because the world now is everything's so sexual now. Music, everything you listen to on rap, they'll never talk about being faithful no more. Everybody like, I got your baby mama, or I'm with your girl. Like, there's no songs hardly even talking about being faithful. So these are the demons that y'all are dealing with because men absorbing it, women absorbing it. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why he said about spirit, y'all remember the movie Penitentiary? If you notice before he was trying to, you know, take advantage of Too Sweet, remember Too Sweet was reading the intellectual book. He started reading the pornography, and first thing he said was, man, put the intellectual stuff down and get you some spirit. And people never caught that. But it's that serious because we don't look at it like that. But when you're dealing with so many people, you attach to it. But when you start looking at porn, see, now I'm looking at my wife, I wonder if you let me do that. And you're like, man, I don't do that. Get out of my face. Well, now it causes conflict. So do y'all deal with that a lot? The pornography issue?
Not well, some, but
we do deal with it. I would say maybe about 40%. And that's a large percentage.
Yes, it is.
And it does have an effect on the relationship because, like my husband said, if you and your mate are in a time of conflict and they have other options in terms of release and relaxation or, you know, getting off, whatever the case may be, then they can choose the other option and not be motivated to make up with their mate. So it does have an impact. And then there are relationships where, you know, people are coming home and they touch the computer and pictures are popping up everywhere. The children are seeing them. The person is sitting there in front of the computer, don't come to bed at night because they're sitting at the computer all night long, you know. So it definitely affects the relationship.
What about
I
hear sometimes women say that, you know, they love their mate and they're going to be faithful to their mate and they'll never go outside of the marriage for sex. But then this person doesn't sexually satisfy me, and so they go to a Starship and they get like toys or tools, and they try to add something, try to spice it up, and it helps them keep, I guess, whatever else they have mended together. I mean, is that still wrong for them to use those tools or those accessories to keep?
Not if they're doing it together.
So watching pornography together.
Yeah, but then
that's a different thing because you have a different picture in your mind. So that's an individual thing. But the toys is something a husband and wife can do together.
I would really like to find out from women who use toys because
we should have them on
for real. I'd really love to have a woman who can admit that they use toys. No.
You never watch porn?
No. I value my body. I value my body, and I'd like to preserve it the way God created
Why are
it.
you looking at me like this?
For me, it's important.
Look at that.
But I really would want to speak to a woman that uses toys because I think our bodies are created different from men. Men, their bodies.
Don't need toys.
No, even if they did, if they had toys, it wouldn't change them. They're still the same. But for us, women, we change. So when you talk about the question of satisfaction, it could be possibly that you use toys and now human beings just don't make sense. You desensitize yourself, like he said. you desensitize yourself, and now you've taken away from the relationship, and you have to depend on toys. Now, if you are depending on toys, not the guy, then what do you need him for? I mean, how the closeness, sex was given by God to bring us closer, to make us become more affectionate to one another. Well, that's not there now because your toy is your everything. So how does that work out? But then
Well, maybe
I would need
the
to
toy-
ask the toy person. I mean, people who
Well,
use
maybe,
toys.
even if you're still engaging in sex with your partner, it's still bringing you together. You don't think so?
Well, I don't know because. Oh,
I'm not going.
No, I just think the reason why I asked that question because
That's why I need to ask the question
as
too.
y'all counseling
Yeah.
people,
yeah.
who this is so relevant, and people just don't talk about how
Yeah.
serious this is because whether men are dealing with pornography or female, and they do have male toys, these things to me can really because it takes away from the natural.
And
Go to Starship.
we recommend that couples have a goal of making love at least
You got
3
nice
times a
rings.
week. Thank you.
I'm sorry, they was glitching. A little Wayne.
We recommend that couples set a goal of making love at least 3 times a week. And with that being, and even more if that's what you want to do, that being the case, it shouldn't be the same old thing all the time. You know, there should be something different. And when we look at the book of Songs, and Solomon is talking to his bride, and, you know, he's talking about being creative, going places, doing different things, you know, adding some excitement to the relationship and to the lovemaking. And that's part of this excitement. Every time you make love, you're not going to play with the toys. But every now and then, you may pull them out together and enjoy it.
I
And
know some people that every time they have sex, they use a toy.
Yeah.
I would
And I don't
like
think
to know
that becomes a dependent
how it
thing.
affects the
Yeah,
woman.
and then I'm
I'd really
talking
like
to
to
women
know.
who say
Yeah.
that the
I'd
toy
really
has
like
taken
to
them to
know.
places that the male could never take them.
You
to.
see, that's the
But,
problem right there.
Like, I think that when you said that it's desensitized,
Yeah.
Desensitizes you.
but it's just like, but then like how they express the happiness that they had because of that toy, just like it was life changing. Like, you know, like I wouldn't change it for the world.
Maybe
Like,
they
You
haven't
see?
found the right
But
man.
You
no,
see?
right. Because, you know, and this is something that we say, well, this is for me personally. You know, I believe that, you know, God created sex and he did create it for purposes of procreation, recreation, relaxation, and release. You know, I believe that, you know, it's something that's supposed to be exciting. And I truly do believe that between a husband and a wife, you know, you definitely can have that ultimate hallelujah, thank you, Jesus.
oh, man, hold up.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yes.
For real.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
more than toys, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think they're designed. When I really look at the whole, they're designed to destroy.
I think they
Destroy
are.
But what
us,
if
man.
someone's been single for 20 years and you know they're not going to get married? Don't you think they should have some kind of?
But, you know, it's when you step into an arena, man. I'm trying to-
Exactly.
see,
But to say toys are just destroying everything, there's some people who
I
I
think
know.
I think they're designed.
Designed
But there are
to
relationships
destroy.
that couples are not able to please each other.
Yeah.
And they need something to,
Enhance
you know, enhance the relationship. And sometimes, you know, males and females go through changes that they are not always just ready to make love.
I was gonna
And
ask you about
sometimes it takes something more. And we should be okay with using something more together.
I guess I'm looking at, you know, that we're just moving into a society where things are not natural no more. And I had a friend, and I was asking her, and she said, "Oh, Mom, I'm not really that sexually active no more." She was talking about with her and her husband. She said, "I just don't have that drive like I used." I said, "So when your husband's ready to have sex, what you do?" She said, "Oh, I don't turn him down." She said, "I don't deny him now." She said,
You
"Just."
because he wanted.
And see, in relationships, man, you have to be real cautious because I seen a young man that came to me talking about his relationship. He was saying, like, they're young couple, they're no more than about 25 now, and they've been married like 4 years now, 3 or 4 years now. And he said, I guess, you know, early last year it was a situation where for a couple months, man, she didn't really want to have sex with him, and he's a young man, he has energy, and it drove him to cheat. You see what I'm saying?
I know somebody.
It
like
drove
that.
him to cheat. You know what I'm saying? To me, like, that was heartbreaking because you got a young man who's really doing his best, and we don't see that in our community or society where you got a young man who stand on his integrity, you know, who for whatever reason, man, he just had that natural integrity to do what's right, and then finally you see where the other individual, it almost forced him out of the situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where it's always most time it be on the other end where, you know, we just do it because we want to do it. But then you got a young man do it. But, you know, how do y'all deal with that in conversation when, you know, how do y'all talk with the wife and
Yeah.
spouse, like,
and we
you
have a
don't
lot of
deny him.
couples like that too. And whether it's something that's happened that's caused them not to forgive their mate, or just a day to day, go to work, come home, cook dinner, got to go back to work, and just don't want to do it. And we encourage them. The Bible tells us that unless we are praying and fasting, we should not withhold ourselves from our mate. When we get married, my body is no longer mine, but it belongs to my husband, and his belongs to me.
So she has to have sex every time he want to have sex?
It's not a has to issue,
Gets to.
but
She should
it's
want
a,
to.
it's a good thing to do it. If I have a headache, then he can go bring me an aspirin and make sure I'm okay, so I can go ahead and do what he wants to do. If I'm tired, then maybe he'll go run me a tub of water and help me relax and let me take a nap when I first get home from work. And he's doing things too to encourage me to want to make love to him. Foreplay, exactly.
Whatever. I mean, just let him
know.
rest until you kiss him.
The rest, the thinking of the person. One of the things in terms of foreplay that we often share with couples, the tantric sex is very important.
What does tantric mean?
Where it's a form of sex that we're thinking about our mate sensually for around the clock, 24 hours, and it's different positions, different things that you can do in terms of your
Y'all
sexual
teach this in
relationship.
class? That's awesome.
Yeah,
I like that.
I mean,
I
we're
like
grown
that because
folks.
we need to hear. No,
we
I'm saying
handle
we need to hear
everything
that.
from A to Z, and that means that when you wake up in the morning, you're thinking about your wife and how she looks, with the light shining on her backside, and while you're at work, you're sending her a sweet note and thinking about how her breasts look, and she's sending you something thinking about how your thigh feels, things like that, and
Don't
you're
send no pictures on
thinking,
email.
no,
Don't send no pictures on
Don't do that.
Snapchat.
But the whole thing,
World
you're intentionally thinking about your mate in a sensuous way.
What about teenagers?
And the goal.
This is couples.
Yeah.
Married.
Couples.
Married.
Married couple.
Y'all don't talk
Married.
about. Y'all don't deal with relationships like people who are trying to get. I mean, you got young guys. You got young guys and girls who. I ain't talking about having sex, but the real world, that people are in relationships, and to me, that's where most of the adults are really having a problem because they don't even know how to be in a relationship when they're teenagers. When I'm talking about 17, 18,
Yeah.
19, of course you 56, you don't need. I'm like, yo, hey, stay away. But when you're talking about real live situation, is the reason why most adults are hurting because they're already hurting here.
Yeah.
And I have some girls that come to me, their parents bring them because they don't want to talk to mom about these things. So I have to be real with them. I tell them, first of all, I tell them not to do it. But I know because of where I came from, that's easier said than done.
Exactly.
And then I share with them what it really means and what you're doing. And we have that conversation, and not in a way where I'm pointing my finger at them telling them what they should or should not do, but I'm listening also to what their thought process is when it comes to having sex. And I had somebody who told me that her boyfriend was bisexual. And I mean, I think she was like 13. And it's, to listen to these conversations and yet
It's the real
speak
world
to
we're
her.
living in.
Exactly. And to speak to her where she would hear what I'm saying and understand and see what she was really saying and pull her away from that type of mindset that would be okay.
But that's the reason why I asked that, because like I said, so many of us young men deal with this growing up, man, that we don't know. Honestly, even before I went to prison, when I was in a relationship with my son's mother, I thought if I made love to you, that was loving you. That was good. That was our makeup. If I got to fighting with her, we'll make love. I remember, I'm just in my crazy mentality, and I got to fighting with her. I mean, about stuff, but you know how, let's make love.
Yeah.
And I thought that's supposed to settle and resolve everything. Not having a clue. So when these things lead up into, you know what I'm saying, in adulthood, like what you're doing is these things are just getting worse and worse. They're getting callous. Now, so what I'm saying is, if we don't start teaching young people about relationships, when they get 25 and 30, man, they're going to be horrible.
You're not 25.
At all.
And so to that point, it's important for the parents, even if you can't talk to your children, take them to somebody who they will feel comfortable with and who they will talk to.
Awesome. Are y'all teaching classes to help like other people get like certified in doing that?
No, not yet. We do have something in the workings, but it's going to be a while. We want to train on our program, Dainhen,
Need to add that too.
Yeah, that would be cool. What about impotence?
which is another reason sometimes toys is allowed in the relationship.
So that's when toys are allowed.
Sometimes, if that works for both the husband and the wife.
But nothing is working for the male.
I
mean,
yeah.
If the
You
male
said there are toys for male.
no, if the man
But-
is impotent, if he's impotent, what
Yeah.
toy works for him?
Oh yeah.
But to be able, but still, even if he's impotent and he doesn't want to go to the doctor, and that's one option he has, that he can go to the doctor and have certain things done. If that's not what he wants to do, he still has an obligation to please his mate sexually. So then the toys can come in where that could be something that they do between the two of them. But we also encourage, because sometimes people when they get older, or even young men, will sometimes become impotent, and that is, it's still necessary that you're able to make love, that you're able to have sex. So there are things that you should and can do.
I got one more question. What about bringing in another partner?
Absolutely.
Which is something.
Really? Did you really ask?
Yeah.
No, but that's real life.
It's
stuff.
real.
I know some
Uh-huh.
I know some happy
That's real.
Yes.
I know some
And there, it's happening
Into
more and
a
more with
marriage.
marriages
Oh
now.
my God.
Yeah, that's
I
sweet.
know.
That's
I'm
sweet.
done with
All
him
that
this
up.
episode.
Yeah, it's happening more and more with marriages, and there was a show on recently. I can't remember which show it was, but this guy and a woman had gotten married, and she was bisexual, and she said, I'm not going to give up women just because I'm marrying you. He said, well, I'm not giving up women either. So they found a third person to come into the relationship, and it's happening a lot.
Do y'all discourage drugs for, like, you got some men that just feel like they want to be Superman all night. Do y'all discourage the drugs for, like, people who you don't need no drugs, man.
Right.
If you're healthy,
Yeah.
thank God that you are still healthy. Do
Yeah.
y'all discourage that?
Definitely. Yeah.
Because I know a few people who were like maybe in their 20s or early 30s who were doing it simply because they wanted to be Superman. And but I do believe that something like that over a period of time,
It will mess
it will
you
have a
up.
long-term effect.
Yeah.
Or kill
So,
you.
right,
Maybe even
Yeah.
kill you.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure they have girl pills.
They do have
The
pills now, the
girl
pink
pills.
pills now.
Yeah, I mean,
They
I don't know.
call the
I know
pink
it's
pill.
something. What
Yeah.
it's called? I know it's
It's a
something. I
pink
couldn't
pill.
understand what it was,
But most doctors will pull back
Discourage
from,
you.
discourage you from using that.
Exactly.
And a lot of times women go through periods where they either don't feel like they want to have sex, or that they are really dry and they have issues with that. But most doctors will encourage them to do other things in terms of getting lubricants, just trying to train the mind to be in the mindset of making love before they will give them the pill. Because, like you said, a lot of times they'll cause more damage in the long run.
We should definitely have a show like based around, because in my mind, I was thinking about what if a female is dry when she's thinking about her partner, but if she thinks about another female, she's not dry anymore. How do you diagnose that?
Maybe she's homosexual.
Yeah.
That's a sin.
And maybe she's homosexual and just being with the man because she thinks it's right.
Well, I want to say I really appreciate y'all. I think
Yeah.
just in a small conversation, man, y'all really have raised my antenna to some things, man. That as I move forward in my life, and as I'm praying God to humble me, man, and remove some of these thorns, so I can focus on that one individual, man, that will take me to the next level of my
Right.
life, and realize how more. Because even as a chaplain at the Atlanta Transition Center, man, and when people ask about marriage, I always encourage, get some counseling before you make decisions, because getting out of prison, I understand the whole concept. We want to do right, and it sounds good.
Yeah.
And even though it sounds good, you still want to be able. You got to, tackle some things in your life, personal things. Individually. If she has to tackle some things, you're going. It's just a lot, dude. How we gonna move in together? How we gonna have our finances together? There's so many other things that we don't see on paper. You see what I'm saying? That y'all are sharing. I really appreciate that, because I think for us as young men, and we're still young men, and for young ladies, man, it's important that we have to see strong, black, healthy relationship, and then y'all teaching it, man. Then y'all teach from a godly respect. So, I'm like, I definitely want to, take your business cards out there and just throw them out there, man, because I want to see people embrace that, man, because we're seeing too many black couples. And I don't want to, because it's not all about black. Any couple that comes to y'all, you can embrace, they can embrace the knowledge that God has given y'all to pour in there. And I think it's very, very important. I think people need to reach out and work on some of these relationships, because a lot of people are hiding relationships. They're hiding the problem. And then by then it's too late, because you don't let everything destroy your relationship, man. So I really appreciate the knowledge that y'all have poured in my life this day. You know what I'm saying?
Can we go to a quick break? This is Instinct Radio. You're tuned into the Dainhen Butler Show. We are here with our special guest, Michael and Larraine Forrester. It's been very enlightening. Please stay tuned. This is the Dainhen Butler Show.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.